Hello, welcome to another episode of This, That, and the Other. And I was trying to figure out today what to talk about, and I couldn't I couldn't think of anything. I've done 850 of these, and well, I was looking through some old sports programs, and I ran across this one from July 1st, 1985. Cracker Jack Old Timers baseball games played at RFK Stadium. And I do remember going to that. Only one of those types of games I ever went to. I did go to a game in Cleveland Stadium years ago. I think 1980, maybe it was 1990 actually. The Cleveland Indians were taking on the New York Yankees. And I believe they did have some former players of both teams, older players, do a few innings of maybe like 3 innings of a old timers game before the regular game started. But anyway, little history on Cracker Jacks themselves. They were introduced in 1893 at the Chicago World's Fair, later registered as Cracker Jack in 1896. They started adding prizes to the boxes in 1912. Prior to that, they would send coupons for various things, such as being redeemable for clothes, toys, and other items. At the 1893 World's Fair, the Ruckheim brothers introduced their candy, popcorn, and peanuts at the World's Fair, and it became a hit. The prizes initially included coupons and later evolved into toys, baseball cards, and other collectibles. Ownership changed hands several times, eventually being acquired by Frito-Lay in 1997. 2016 was the end of the physical prizes, with QR codes linking to mobile games. Kind of interesting. I guess the Cracker Jack toys just were not popular anymore. I don't think kids play with toys as much as they used to anyway. They're now more into computer games and that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's what I'm mainly talking about, the Cracker Jack toys. There's an article in this program. Just gonna get to that page. Over here is pictures of various toys that are in Cracker Jacks and more over here. And yes, Cracker Jacks had that boy in a sailor suit with his dog. As a matter of fact, on the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, a question came up asking what was the name of the dog on the Cracker Jacks box. Of course, I didn't know, and I'm sure a lot of other people didn't know. But it would actually say on there, the dog's name was Bingo. Kind of an interesting piece of trivia. I didn't know the answer to that, and I don't remember if that person got it right or maybe used a lifeline or something or actually knew it. I don't remember at this point. A little history on the Old Timers Baseball Classic. It was in existence from 1982 to 1990, founded by former Braves executive Dick Cecil. Took place every July from those years at RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C. Actually, they hosted it from 1982 to 87, and Pilot Field in Buffalo hosted the events from 88 to 90. Cracker Jack dropped their sponsorship following the 1985 events, after which it became the National Old Timers Baseball Classic. All the events were broadcast nationally on ESPN. The inaugural game, played on July 19th, 1982, particularly memorable. The 75-year-old Luke Appling connected off of Walter Spahn on a home run over the fence in left field, which at a distance of which was a distance of 275 feet. That first game was won by the American League 7-2. Quite a few old time, championship players, Hall of Fame players played, such as Hank Aaron, Larry Doby, Lou Brock, Bert Camperis, Joe DiMaggio, Bob Feller, Harmon Killebrew, Ralph Kiner, Johnny Mize, Stan Musial, Don Newcomb, Eno Swatter, and Early Flynn, to name a few. And some of you will probably be wanting to know this, which actually can be looked up on the internet. But anyway, the National League beat the American League that night 7-2. If I'm not mistaken, I believe those games were played with seven innings in that game. I can take a look at the box score on this thing and see. I think it was seven innings. I don't know if they actually ever did 9 innings with that All-Timers game or not. They probably not. Just trying to take a look here. Actually doesn't. I don't have the box score, but anyway, I believe it was 7 innings, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody will know for sure. But anyway, the toys themselves were all kinds of various things. I'm gonna go back to that page, and actually, museum in Philadelphia was displaying Cracker Jack collection over 100 toys for a little while in 1985. First toys inserted in 1912, all the way from 1912 to 1930. Metal whistles, paper games, spin tops, puzzles, yo-yos, brooches, and pens were popular surprise prizes. 1930 to 40, intricately designed, hand-painted metal, wooden, and porcelain toys. Complete train set could be collected, as well as lead charms and presidential coins. 1940 1950, toys reflected World War II. Toy pilots, commanders, and artillery equipment were packed in boxes during the war years. Toy comic book characters such as Little Orphan Annie and Moon Mullins were introduced. 1950 and 1960, toys were space age heroes, whistles, cars, animals, perfected in plastic molding. 1960 and 1970, mid-sized storybooks. I remember those. Riddles, fun books, tiny tattoos, and encyclopedias took center stage. 1970 and 1980, miniature pinball games, superhero stick-ons, plastic prisms, fun books, rub-off maze games were the favorites. 1980, super sweepstakes from Cracker Jack prizes were worth up to $10,000, including a Mazda station wagon loaded with Mattel's toys, and more than 50,000 Super Mattel toys, in addition to the most popular toy surprises. So those are the various toys that were around at that time. But most memorable thing I remember finding in Cracker Jacks was the miniature storybooks, and I'm guessing Cracker Jacks are still sold at the baseball games. They were pretty popular at that time. You got that song, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and one line, "Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back." So, interesting song. But anyway, that's what I was able to find out on the history of the Cracker Jacks toys, and I did read in the article that there was a lady that was a collector of Cracker Jack's memorabilia, and in 1982 she even ordered a ticket to the old timers game, even though she didn't. She had no intention of going. She just wanted. She just wanted to. She wanted to. Wanted to add it to her Cracker Jack memorabilia collection because it made mention of Cracker Jacks, and so that's what I was able to find out on it. And a lot of times when I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about, something will come up. And getting closer to 900, and when I get this to 1,000 shows, and like I said, looking for ideas on shows to do in the future. Shows about preserving history, especially obscure aspects of history. Some aspects more obscure than others. This one not as obscure as not very obscure, as a matter of fact. Maybe to some people that have never heard of the Cracker Jack prizes, or maybe not even heard of Cracker Jacks for that matter. But anyway, looking for ideas on shows to do in the future. If it's feasible, I will research it and base a show on it. That being said, like, subscribe, share. As always, thanks for watching.